Hey everybody, this is Perch. Are you reading the new Ginny Sparks book from DC? Well, the first issue dropped, and we've got an immediate review from a reader. Ginny Sparks number one. Why does this book exist? I'm really asking. So, before we get into this mail, I don't know. I go run hot and cold. Like, I'd like to do more comic reviews. I read some comics I really do enjoy, and then I read some comics I thoroughly am confused by. And it's not like, oh my god, this is a shitty comic. It's more of a why was this made? Like what was the point of this? I don't know. I don't even sometimes it's a decent comic, but it's confusing why somebody thought this was a good idea to solicit and get a creative team for and publish. Like why bother? What are we thinking with this? Jenny Sparks, I haven't read yet at the time of this mail, but I can easily see it falling into the same boat because this is the you know fall 2024 version or late summer, out of whatever version of a lot of Tom King's books that often seem to fit into that category. We ran through the Mr. Miracle book, we ran through the Rorschach book, and we went through the Human Target book and the Adam Strange book and the Batman 12 Nights of Christmas book, which the Batman one probably over time has been the most irritating to me because I think you had Phantasm, and you had an opportunity to kind of maybe even revitalize the villain and a female villain to boot that Batman does kind of need more of. And it just all in all, a lot of these books come across as why? I just it's just that just why. So like I said, I'm not surprised if it's getting this reaction. Some of the books sell okay. Like the books aren't blockbusters by and large. They feel like they're made for trade. But before I give you too much of that, so let's go to the email and then we can speculate some more. It says, "Hey Perch, I just read Ginny Sparks number one. It's slow, convoluted, endlessly wordy, overindulgent, and depressing. Tom King special. Um, it ignores it completely ignores in-universe logic and character continuity. So basically, it's a Tom King book. That is a Tom King special. There, that's kind of what he do. I have two questions. First, why does DC keep giving him books? Really, why? Are his sales that good? Is their writer's well that dry? I'm genuinely asking. Well, to answer that, Tom King's sales are better than many at DC. But a lot of that, it's hard to tell exactly how much of that is the book he's on versus the fact that they often pair him with, higher talented artists. And when he's doing Batman and he's got, some of the best artists and, in DC on that book with him, then yeah, that's going to sell well. It's just a, big shock. It sells pretty good. When he's on the Human Target, it doesn't sell anywhere close to as well, although they've still got a better artist on that than other books. I mean, they're giving him top talent. And Tom King's name sells books. It doesn't sell. It's not like it's like Mark Miller, his name back when he was doing stuff at Marvel, that his name alone, like we're gonna put Mark Miller on Wolverine, we're gonna put Mark Miller on Fantastic Four, and you would see a bump. But even there, the sales of Mark Miller's Wolverine, which ultimately went into Old Man Logan, at Mark Miller's Fantastic Four, which had a top tier artist in Brian Hitch, there's a world of difference between the sales of those two books. They weren't the same. You had a distinct drop to the Fantastic Four. It's not as popular a character as Wolverine. And you also had, Steve McNiven, you had John Romita Jr., when he was a little bit kind of more of a must-buy artist. He always will be for me, but everybody has ups and downs. So that's, he sells, but how much of it is Tom King and how much of it is Tom King plus the artist and how much of it is Tom King plus the artist plus, a major character? He's on Wonder Woman now. Wonder Woman is not selling as well as Batman did, but Wonder Woman never sells as well as Batman. So I don't know. What I don't know is like, okay, so if Tom King is a big bankable, writer, somebody that you really want to get behind and shove off a cliff. No, somebody that you really want to do some books with. You would think if they're paying him more, put him on books that matter, and don't put them on kind of mini series that may or may not, are not attached to continuity and nobody cares about, or at least, maybe they read it for the adventure of reading a Tom King story, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If you've got a big name, you should have that big name doing things that matter. Again, the game here is really to sell trades. From what we can tell, that's why they do it. But I don't know. Is that lucrative? Is it that great an idea to is it worth it? It's hard to say. And do you create a business model and overall kind of publishing lineup that kind of eats itself because you're putting kind of bigger names, in theory, better artists with Tom King, because that's the combo you want to do. And then you're doing a mini series versus an ongoing, and the mini series then has to go get a new audience. You're basically selling it off Tom King's name, and maybe the character is popular, who knows? Whereas if you put the same money and the same attention toward, like they're doing right now with Wonder Woman, that's a better use of Tom King if he's a bankable name. So anyway, sorry, that was a lengthy answer to just your first question. Second, we're back to the mail now. In your opinion, who is reading these books, or who are reading these books? If your shop were up and running, who would be handing you this book and paying for it? Honestly, is the next generation sad, bored, and depressed, and this is cathartic for them? Is that even possible, since the next generation doesn't even earn enough money to afford monthly Black Label books? Is it nostalgic creators buying them and never reading them? Maybe more the second. The people who are the 20-somethings who, may like this type of material, they're stealing it. Just to be blunt. They're reading on the Comics Online site, and they're not paying for it. The people coming into the store and buying a Tom King book in this day and age are people who are either big fans of Tom King, and there are some, collectors who are not opening the book at all, but, Tom King's, and he's paired with a bigger artist, so that people are going to come in on that. Or they're fans of the character that happens to be being deconstructed in that given moment. But the other thing is, Tom King has a style that works for some people, and some of them post in the comments. So please post in the comments here, like, what is it about Tom King's work that you like? But I liked Vision, and Vision was sad and depressing and deconstructed a character and was rough. It was not a happy story. And, there's a time and a place for that. Sometimes, like Watchmen is not a happy story. And so you want to read something and it kind of tears, characters down, and it's a little depressing, yes. And that's just that there's a time and a place for those books, and some people enjoy that, and that's fine. But when that's your only gimmick, and I've said this in other videos, that the problem I have with Tom King in 2024 is that I feel like we're seeing the same bit over and over and over and over again. It's like if Kirkman said, hey, I'm doing another comic book, and it's going to be in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's going to have zombies in it. But this time, the zombies are surfers. Okay, fine, but they're still zombies. And it's like, okay, but wait till you see my next book. And my next book, it's a dark, depressing look at a world with zombies set in South America. We're going to see how it goes down there. Eventually you'll be like, dude, you only do stuff with zombies. That's your only story. That's your only go-to. And if the plot was always like, it turns out the living is more dangerous than the dead, then it's like, yeah, okay. That's a point. Like, I've seen this story a lot. I don't need to see it again. And I think for me, that's where Tom King sits. The tropes are so damn familiar. Heroes in crisis. It's like, we're gonna have Batman be depressed, and then we're gonna have Green Lantern wonder what willpower is, and it's like, alternatively, do you have another gimmick? And to me, I think what's going to happen with Tom King is, as a prediction or spoiler, is that at some point people it'll happen kind of all at once. People will be like, you know what, goddamn, we've read this story before. No, we're out. And I think that's going to occur suddenly, because that in the past that's how it's gone for writers when they get completely typecast. They just do the same things over and over, and people are all on board for it for a while, and then one day everybody seems to kind of simultaneously wake up and they're like, nope, done. And I think that's what happens here. Anyway, let's keep going. It says, I know you don't completely share my opinion, but I absolutely love the Stormwatch and Authority runs that chart Ginny Sparks' adventures from her first appearance till death. I know what you're talking about. I like those books. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. One of the best parts about that is between Warren Ellis and Mark Miller and I'm forgetting one of the writers, and I feel like a fool. Anyway, between those writers, the thing I liked about Stormwatch and the Authority is that, like, when they introduced villains, like, damn it, they went for it. The villains were villains. Like, the villains were terrible, awful people, particularly for Miller's run. Damn it, though, like, the villains were some of the most heinous, awful people everywhere. And I thought that was great. And so you cheered on the heroes when they were able to defeat these guys who were threatening and awful. And they didn't pull punches. And I have fond memories of those comics for sure. It says, I have fond memories. Back to the mail. We both have fond memories. I have fond memories of reading those issues and watching Ginny stand up to the right thing and fight for a better world despite herself as her character. That's my take, and I'm sticking to it. That's a correct take. That's how the character is written. So why does this sad, awful, boring, depressing book exist? Thanks for your consistent, insightful, engaging videos. Hope you're feeling well. Thank you very much. I'm not feeling good. But, story for another time, I guess. I don't know. All I know is, in this book, and for Tom King's not the only writer, by the way, that's like this. This is the bit. This is the bit people show up and pay for, is this bit. We're going to take a character, and we're going to use, kind of shots that kind of are depressing, and it shows the character struggling, like, we struggle in life, I guess, and that's what we're going to do. If it helps any, the times I've seen Tom King at a convention, he looks and acts like the characters in his comic, sad, depressed, and wondering how he got there. And so, it's like they say, write what you know, right? I don't know. I hate to beat up on King. Like I said, other writers do this too. Everybody has, some level of typecasting that goes on. And for that matter, a Mark Miller story feels like a Mark Miller story. He does use some of the same tricks with his characters. Now, I think he spaces it up a little bit, but if you read like Big Game, the conclusion that came together, there was a lot of very familiar Mark Miller tropes in that book. Now, it just happens for me personally, I enjoy those tropes, so the book works for me. If you enjoy Tom King's tropes, then I guess you just want him to do that forever, I guess. But the part that, and I'll conclude with this, the part that I think is destructive a little bit is you need to build forward a little bit. And if you're always writing these kind of out of continuity, it's the same general feel of story, plus it's out of continuity. And in some cases, thank God, I mean, Adam Strange, we don't want a war criminal, dead Adam Strange running around. But, I think you're investing a lot of time, energy, and money into stories that at the end of the day just kind of sit in a bubble by themselves, and they may sell, and that's great, but they're not doing anything to expand the line and move it forward. And the only reason why Tom King has some of these things to play with is because for decades, people wrote stories about these guys, and Danger Street, that was another one he did. That one sold terribly. Anyway, people, you only get to deconstruct characters if the characters have been built up for many years for you to deconstruct them. And so if all you do is kind of break the toys, then at some point, what do you have? Yeah, there won't be more toys. You need to actually, build. And it's hard to see. Like I said, I'll read this issue and maybe I'll do another video saying, fuck, I don't know what that guy was talking about. It's amazing. The solicitation sure didn't sound good. It's like an exploration of 9/11 and the CIA. It's like, again, write what you know, right, folks? Anyway. Well. What do you think? Have you read this book? Why does it exist? If you have the answer, let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.